My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. I'm ranking my highlighters. Hey y'all, I'm ranking my highlighters. I ranked my eyeshadow palettes, I ranked my blushes, and then in between I started drinking. So I'm feeling really optimistic about ranking my highlighters today. It's totally straightforward, needs no introduction. Let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. Here's all my highlighters. I don't even need to zoom out. They all fit in frame. This is like a bronzer highlighter palette, but the highlighters are really the thing in it, so I decided to include it in this ranking video rather than the bronzer ranking video. I'm going to do some preliminary moving around of things, and then I'll check in partway through, as is my wont. Okay, so just briefly, I thought I had grabbed Laguna of the Persona highlighters, but I had grabbed Zuma. So Persona sent both of these to me, and I actually think that I forgot to reckon with either of them. Laguna just completely bypassed the Purgatory box and went straight into my collection. So let's have this be the announcement of that. It's not ever going to be in a reckoning because it was just too amazing. Spoiler alert, it's probably gonna be towards the top. I just immediately was like, you beauty, I'm keeping you. So Laguna is in my collection now, and it is in this video, having never been in Purgatory. However, Zuma is much darker, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep it or not. So Zuma is currently in the Purgatory box and not in this video. Gosh, this is hard. So I realized that I want to put this Ciate London Dewy Stick at the end, at the bottom. I do like it a lot. I like having it. To me, it's like a very cool girl product, and it gives a very cool girl effect, but it stays tacky on the face, and for that reason I like it less than any of my other highlighters here, because I don't like something that stays tacky on the face. It's almost like I'm keeping it in my collection because I feel like I should have at least one of this type of product, and this is the one that has offended me the least of all of the ones I've tried, but it just doesn't hold a candle to the highlighters that suit me better texturally. So I'm keeping it. I like it, but it's coming in last in this ranking. This is hard. This is hard and confusing. Gosh. All right, I'm not sure that I've really done it yet. I'm not sure if I figured it out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start the process of talking it through from the last to the first. And along the way, if I need to move anything around, I will. I feel like I need to talk out loud about it to get my mind straight. So I already addressed why the Ciate Dewy Stick is last. So again, if someone were coming to take my highlighters away one by one, I would give them this one first, and then if they needed another one, I would probably give them this Ofra one. This is Star Island. Lauren gave this to me. It's beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. All of them are beautiful. Like, these are my only highlighters, and all of them are beautiful. If one weren't good on me, if it didn't suit my skin tone, if it didn't layer okay over my other products, I would have decluttered it. So it's beautiful. It's just, it's almost like it's so balanced in all of its characteristics that it's a little bit humdrum to me. And I also didn't pick it out and buy it. I just inherited it, and I was like, this is beautiful. I'm happy to inherit it. But it doesn't distinguish itself compared to other highlighters such that I would want to like keep it before all of these other ones. So that would be the next one to go, even though I definitely like it enough to keep it in my collection. Now this is the shocker of the day, because this highlighter right here, Rivage, on which I have a good bit of pan, was for probably well over a year, my whole no buy year. I bought it before my no buy year, and then for my whole no buy year, and maybe even into this year, I would have called this my favorite highlighter. And it might, this is so weird to say, but it might still be like my all-time favorite highlighter. It's a very, very pale peachy nude pink. Well, it looks white there on my finger, but that's because I got such a hefty swatch. And it just, but it's got enough, it's not icy white. So it is like a cream, but it's not icy white. It's got enough nude to really blend into the skin tone. And it's so natural that I'm not ashamed to wear this highlight in settings where I genuinely want to look like I'm not wearing makeup. And I can't really say that of these other highlighters, because most of them you can really, they look stunning and they look somewhat natural, but you can kind of see that there's something on the skin. But with Rivage, you can't. I'm kind of talking myself into moving it up the line. The reason that it ended up here close to the end is that I'm over big face palettes. I'm like over it. These other highlighters are really beautiful, but they're not quite the same for me. If this were a single, it might be first. Because it's this big palette, I just don't cherish this object of makeup as much as some of these other ones. But you know, just swatching it and talking about how much I like it, if I'm thinking about if someone really were like taking my highlighters one by one, and they took this one, and then they took this one, and then they were coming for this Nars palette, I think I might throw them this Elsie highlighter. I think I might throw them that Elsie highlighter first and hope that that would satisfy them. Yeah, I think I would. So this was given to me at BeautyCon, and you can see right away with that swatch, it's much more metallic than the one from Nars. It's much, much more metallic. But if you knock off some from the brush and really buff it out, it gives a really glossy cheek. I'm very attached to this highlighter right now because it's new, it's special, it's glossy, it's pretty. The pan is so textured. It's just super pretty. But I think for old time's sake, it might actually be the third to last to go. Also, it was PR. I didn't pick it. I didn't buy it. Yeah, I think that one might be the third to go. All right, let's continue the exercise. If someone took all these and then they are coming for this Nars palette, would I let them take it, or would I throw them one of these instead? So I think maybe why I'm struggling with this is that my taste in highlighter sort of goes up and down. Sometimes I'm really here for the glossy metallic, and sometimes I want it to be more skin-like. Strangely, because it's a champagne, so you would think it's tart exposed. It's champagne, so you would think that it wouldn't really suit my skin tone, but for some reason it really blends out, and it always just makes me look like it doesn't really sit badly on the skin. I don't know, it's mysterious. It's so shiny. It's so gleaming on me. And I also really like the way it smells. But gosh, if someone were coming from my Nars palette, I think I might let them have it. I think I might let them have this instead of taking away this palette. I do really like it though. I do really like this little guy. It's just a little plastic. I think it's like a deluxe sample size or something, or a mini. Because this is sort of dinky and plastic, even though I'm not that into face palettes right now, I think I'm more attached to Rivage as having been like my all-time favorite highlighter for a long time. I know that doesn't make grammatical sense, but we're sticking with it because I'm a little bit tipsy. I think I would probably throw this to them as sort of like a cheap plasticky thing, even though I really do like the highlight inside. I think after that though, I think we found the resting place of this palette with Rivage in it, this Nars palette, because I don't think that I would let the mean highlighter stealing person take any of these in lieu of this one. I think this would be the next to be sacrificed. And then now we're getting into the really tough top four, and this is probably that line in the sand where these are like my 4 prize winners, and then like these are the rest of my collection. Oh, this is so interesting. This is so telling. So one little swatch, I'm gonna clean off my finger. One little swatch of this Persona Cosmetics one, it doesn't look as opaque in its whiteness, like its powderiness, as even the Nars one, as any of the other ones that I swatched. I know I'm swatching kind of willy-nilly. It doesn't look as opaque, and I think that that's part of why it ends up blending into the skin and looking so glossy. I'm so into this highlighter. I've been really, really loving wearing it. It layers pretty well. It's just hard to know. Okay, so someone's coming for another highlighter after having taken all of these. I do think that this would be the next to go, and it's because it's kind of a specialty item. It's weird. I don't necessarily like love these, all things being equal, love these more than this. It's just that this is straight glitter in a sheer base. So I don't reach for it when I just want to add a little shine to my cheeks or gloss up my whole face. I reach for it to put a bunch of glitter on my brow bone or in my inner corner, or to have like a full-on sheeny wet look glitter cheek and eye moment. Like I use it kind of as a topper, and it's pretty intense because in person you can see the glitter. So it's just a little bit more of a targeted use specialty item rather than being like an all-purpose knockout highlighter. So as much as I truly adore it and everything about it, it's going to be in fourth place after these three, but it definitely scores higher than all of the rest of these because it is extraordinary. It's an extraordinary formula, and I love that super wet, glossy look that you can get from glitter. And then I think we might actually be here. I think that this might actually be the correct order for the top three. Persona Laguna is my top powder highlighter, but it doesn't top my two top putty, because that's what these are, both kind of like putty highlighters. And I love that formula because you can use it with a brush, which is what I prefer, and really buff it into the skin. But it has sort of like a dry, powdery finish rather than staying really sticky like a face gloss or like some cream or stick highlighters. So it makes sense that for my top three, there would be a powder highlighter in it, because I think sometimes a powder highlighter is what you want. Sometimes it's the right thing. But it would also make sense that within the top three, it's coming third. So if someone were coming for my top three, I would throw them this one and hope that that was enough, and hope that they would stop there, and hope that I could hang on to my top two. And of my top two, is this the right order? You know what? Wow, what a surprise. I actually think ColourPop Spoon, which is what this is, it's a Super Shock Cheek, I think it might actually be my number one because it's so glossy and sheer, but it's got a little bit of glitter in it, which I love. And it's more neutral. It's more my skin tone. Whereas this one, which is Stila Kitten, it's a Stila Heaven's Hue highlighter in Kitten. I really, really love the gloss from it. I really, really love the formula. And I love how, I know I'm putting it over highlighters. I'm just doing it for fun, not necessarily to get a good swatch. I love how, there you can see it on my finger. I love that glassy, glossy look. And I love the putty formula, but it's just quite a dark pink. I don't know how well you can see it from up there, but when I'm using this, I have to be careful. I can't put it everywhere. I can't do like Cupid's bow, bridge of the nose. This is just for cheeks and tip of the nose for me. If I want to highlight like my Cupid's bow and my chin and the bridge of my nose, I have to reach for something more neutral. So ColourPop Spoon is that. It's almost like it has most of the same qualities of this, but it's neutral on me. It's nude on me. So, and you can see, I mean, I've used a lot of it. I've used almost all of it. And yeah, wow, I've never really realized that ColourPop Spoon has it all for me. I knew I loved it, but I never really realized that it was truly top dog, and I think that it is. ColourPop Spoon, I'm seeing you in a new light. The veil has been lifted between us. The scales have fallen from my eyes. I do love this Stila Heaven's Hue highlighter, though. I think that if I had it in the white color, I think, Opulence, the more neutral color on me, it might be number one. But I do love the ruddy, sheeny, slightly sunburned look that I can get from this. It's almost a little bit like a highlighting blush, which is kind of my preference. I kind of like to have like a one sheeny color on the cheeks. It's just not as versatile because you can't put it in all of those other places on the face. So that is it. This is my collection of highlighters ranked from the one that I would keep if I could only keep one, down to the one that is the first one that I would give away if someone came to my house and demanded one. This was so interesting and so fun. I have learned that I shouldn't be buying face palettes and that I really, really love kind of putty cream style highlighters, or highlighters that aren't powder, that are in a little compact. So, so interesting. I enjoyed it. I hope that you enjoyed it too. And I hope that you are remembering to take extra good care of yourself right now, because that is what will make you the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the